I don't talk about this often, but I think someone or two needs to hear it. And so I'm going to. There was a point in my life where everything or a lot of things looked like and felt like they were coming together. I had multiple degrees, I had a lot of clothes, shoes, you name it. If I could buy it, I had it. And from the outside, it may have read like, oh, she's doing well. She has a lot of the markers of success. But behind all that, what I was really doing was trying to look like the woman that I wished I felt like. And so I kept buying things and I was fully committed, fully devoted to spending. I'm sure if you're a woman, you know what I mean. It was so bad. I remember once that I ended up with the same jacket. I bought the same jacket twice. And I didn't know. I had worn it once and then later I wanted to wear it again. But I noticed that the tag was still on. And so I was like, wait a minute, I hope I didn't spend the entire day wearing, a jacket with the tag on. And so of course I investigated and voila, I had to. That's how crazy it was. Because for me, the image mattered more than the truth, my authenticity. And I know that's a word that's bandied around a lot, but honestly, it's one that's necessary because at this time, more now than ever, we should all be looking to be who we truly are on the inside. And I always say that the more you tap into the desires of your soul, the closer you are to being who you were created to be. And where I used to go after goals, now my focus is what is the desire of your soul because your soul will never wear a mask. So, anyway, I continue to keep with the degrees because each new achievement or each new goal gave me a few minutes or a couple of months of feeling worthy. And so I spent money that I almost always didn't have because it made me feel impressive for a short period of time. And even though it never lasted, I was in this looping cycle of chasing something that ultimately could only come from within, from inside. So, what I had to face later was that I did not actually know who I was. But the irony is, I didn't even know that I didn't know who I was. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. And if I am, well, at least I woke up. I had built an entire identity around being seen in a particular way, and I was more, not even more. I was solely focused on curating the appearance of what I thought was a successful life or a successful person, and what I should look like, how I should be, how I should show up. And of course, if you're doing that, you can't be yourself because the truth is they weren't experiencing who I was. They were experiencing the version that I had made up, who looked good, who seemed composed, who appeared to have a lot of the things figured out. And I kept feeding that vision with more clothes, trying to get to a particular weight, wear a particular size, more goals, more accomplishments, more and more external things, because I didn't have anything underneath it as my foundation that I could stand on. So the only logical thing was to just keep going and going, because if you feel that that's what life is about and there's nothing really deep driving, or not even driving, guiding your desires or guiding your choices, you'll just end up going after goals. And so it was really about just changing or managing or controlling how I showed up and how people experienced me. And that pattern, what I really want to emphasize, ran so deep that I did not notice it. And it's something that I notice with the ladies that I work with and have worked with, that because it's a lot of what we're doing now or they're doing now are things that they've been doing for so long without even knowing that they're doing it. Like level of consciousness around that is very minimal. You just keep going and going and going. And what I've also realized is that we are more committed to keeping up what we're doing than we are to becoming who we are. And unless the pain or the pressure or whatever you're feeling where you are is greater than keeping up, is less than keeping up or than changing it, you're just going to keep in that spiral, that cycle. So I'm going to say it again. Unless you are feeling a real unease from inside, that is saying to you, if you do not disrupt or interrupt this way of existing, this lifestyle that is really focused on just chasing external validation, external worth, feeling love, feeling respected from the outside, you'll just continue in this cycle. And I don't want this to be any one of us where at the end, towards the end, you're looking at a life, looking back on a life that was almost mostly grounded on getting things, acquiring things, versus creating experiences and really tapping into who you were created to be here on earth. When that's the case, you're just adding on more structure, more discipline, more routines because you think that if there's a roadblock, the point is to solve it. And to solve it, you need to do more of this and more of that, because those things just, what they do is you're using them essentially to create an identity that you can feel. Whereas what you need to do is feel who you are, But thankfully, my turning point showed up in my business. When I first started as a coach, I first started as a fitness coach to high achieving women. And when I started, business was great. There were I had done it on myself. And, it stood to reason that I would attract people who had known me when I was not so fit. And so that was going well. So it went well until it didn't go well. But when I stopped generating as much income or having more impact in that regard, I immediately thought it probably means that I need to do more. And so what did I do? I hired more business coaches, more strategists, all those things, because I was still looking outside myself for the next fix. And my mindset was, if something's not working, I have to fix it. How do I fix it? Buy this, order that, get that, do, 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 do. So it's always another course, another this, another strategy, another diet, wherever you are, right? Another outfit, another vacation, even for some of us. But what ultimately happens is those things don't work. And it didn't for me. And so for the first time, I had to sit with myself and disconnect from a solution to hide behind. And that's when everything that I'd been avoiding started to surface. And within all of that was the fact that all of those things were mainly around trying to feel worthy and trying to buy my way basically through looking a certain way, doing a certain thing, having all these things to feel worthy. And so I realized that external achievements were never about discipline or success. They're just about avoiding you because when you have that period where you're not going after something or chasing something, you're forced to deal with you, and you're you wherever you go. So the question that a lot of us try to avoid is, who are you when you're not performing? There are variations to the question, who are you when you're not doing? Who are you and there's some of us whose identities are through the roles we have. So who are you when you're not a mother or a wife or a manager or a director or an executive or a professor, whatever it is? Who are you when you're not doing all those things? So who are you when you're not performing is really the grandmother of the questions. And while that didn't change my entire life or didn't change instantly, it just got me to start to be more honest with myself in a way that I didn't feel safe allowing myself to be. So if you built a life that looks good, but still feels a little off and you can't quite name what that offness is, but you know at this point that it's not about acquiring more things or going after another certificate or doing anything externally, you're not imagining it. A lot of women, high achieving women, Black women in particular, sort of plateau, and then there's that moment where you start to see that there has to be more than life. And some of the questions that some ladies have shared with me that sort of kept permeating their thinking was, is this all there is? What else is there? I want you to know that you're not imagining it. There will come a time, or there comes a time, and maybe this is a moment where you're looking around and realizing that the life that you're living, the life you've created, the life that you've built your entire identity, or a lot of your identity around, how you appear, is not actually who you are. And that moment is not a big moment. It's just it's like an awakening, when it's just like, okay, I've been feeling like there's more to it, and now I know that it's because this is not the way I'm supposed to be living. It's subtle. It's where you decide that I cannot keep living like someone I don't recognize. I want to recognize myself in my life. And when that was where I was, and that where my journey took me, I started to see things shifting, because I was answering a different questions. And there's this saying that the quality of your questions determines the quality of your life. I stand on that, because it's not because you suddenly have the answer for it, but it's because the questions get you to think about how you could have that answer. They move you in that direction. Who do you need to be in order to answer that question? So it's more a be, do, have, than a do to have so that you can be, which is what I was doing, and a lot of us do. It's also because that's when you stop lying or avoiding or distracting yourself. So if this resonated with you, I want you to sign up for my Soft Life Shift Masterclass. It's on December 27th. It's at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be breaking down why so many high achieving women build identities around performance. And I'll share with you 3 potent micro shifts that I used, that my clients use, that will help you to reconnect with the woman that you actually are. The link is in the description, and I will see you in the next live.